baby!
Hey, this is Danny from Made of Metal, aka Britain's strongest drummer, and in the world of strongman news, when it rains, it pours. So I decided to make a little video just covering some of the more pertinent news stories going around at the minute. So in this video, we will be talking about the Clash Strongman Pro Series online qualifier has been announced. Another world record for Rhiannon Lovelace. We have details on the UKNS Irish qualifier, and Leroy Smith is dealing with an injury. We have the details of the online qualifier events for the Clash Strongman Pro Series. In 2022, Clash ran an online qualifier across all the weight classes to invite the biggest and the best to their competitions, and it's the same again this year. Now, these online qualifier events are available to the under 80 and under 90 kilogram men and the under 64 and under 91 kilogram women. As with last year, there are 3 qualifying events and attempts must be submitted by 11:59 Eastern Time on the 4th of March 2023. So if you were thinking about giving this qualifier a go, let's work through the events one by one, starting with max weight farmer's carry for 50 feet. That's about 15 meters if you're from my neck of the woods. So as is the case for all 3 of these events, attempts must be done in one continuous video. For the farmers, you must measure out the distance of the track, you must weigh the implement in one continuous video for the submission to be eligible. As this is a carry for maximum weight, there will be no drops allowed before the 50-foot mark, although interestingly, time will not play a factor. So if you can go really heavy and your grip strength is really long, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get that 50 feet, just as long as you do it in one hit. Event 2 in the qualifier is a 5 rep max log clean and press. So we're looking at 5 reps clean and press, each rep in a 45-second time limit, but the 5th rep merely has to be initiated before the time runs out. So if you get that log off the ground or off the pads before the 45 seconds hits, you can carry on and lock out that rep and it will count. And the 3rd and final event, guess what it is? It's a sandbag. It's not sandbag to shoulder, it's sandbag over shoulder, as many reps as possible in 45 seconds. The Americans love a sandbag. And now I say that because sandbag over shoulder was one of the qualifying events of 2022. Although I do believe that the time limit last year was 60 seconds, whereas this year it's 45. But this is all just adding weight to my belief that the Americans, they just love sandbags, and I don't get it, but you do you. Also in the 2022 qualifier, we had a 5 rep max axle deadlift and 3 rep max log, but each rep from the chest. So it's nice, we've still got log this year. Obviously it's a 5 rep max clean and press each rep, but it's nice the deadlift has been subbed out for a moving event. So you're still testing that grip strength, you're still testing that raw strength, but over distance in quite a common strongman event. People should be putting up really good numbers, and I'm looking forward to seeing what people are capable of. I have mentioned before that I did participate in the online qualifier last year. I submitted attempts for all 3 of the qualifying events and finished dead last. So I have an idea of what sort of numbers are going to be required in order to get a sniff of the top 10. I came 44th, I believe, out of 44. So forgive me, but I think I'm going to skip this year. So let's speculate on what might be good enough in order for people to qualify. The sandbag over shoulder, as I say, that was an event last year, although possibly for a longer duration, but people were hitting double digits with ease. And the under 80 kilogram guys were working with a 100 kilogram, 220 pound sandbag. So I imagine possibly not too many people getting into double digits with 45 seconds, but certainly getting close, and that's a scary thought. As for the log, again, my frame of reference is going to be the under 80 kilogram men, because that's the class that I'm most familiar with, and I can kind of relate to the performance of some of those guys. But a 5 rep max for an under 80 kilogram guy in order to do well at this. It's going to be triple digits, possibly 110 kilograms, maybe even more. 115 for 5 reps, maybe good, who knows. And the max farmers carry, let us not forget that at the official Strongman games, they were doing a 100-meter run with about 130 kilograms each hand. So you have to be looking at 140, 150 kilograms per hand for 50 feet in order to put in a good number to qualify. And yeah, that's not something that I'm able to do just yet. Maybe 2024, who knows. Crazy numbers either way. Let me know what kind of numbers you think are going to be good enough for whichever weight class you're competing in. Are you an under 80, under 90, under 64 or under 91? What would you anticipate are going to be good numbers in order to qualify for their respective clash shows? So we won't know the final lineup of these clash shows until the qualifier is over, but I would imagine that the winners of their respective pro shows are invited back without the need to qualify. And let's not forget that in December last year, 2022, we had Clash in the UK, which was a qualifier for a Clash show. So we know some of the athletes that are likely going to be competing in the Clash shows throughout the year. Looking forward to seeing the full lineups as and when we know them. One piece of news that I'm late to the party on is another world record for the incredible Rhiannon Lovelace. Yep, barely 3 weeks into 2023, on the 22nd of January, Rhiannon Lovelace sets a new axle press world record for the under 64 class at 101 kilograms. And by God, didn't it look comfortable?
Fucking yours! Take what's yours! Yes, sir! Push! Come on now, cross! Yes! Yes!
And this record just is another to add to the lengthy list of records that Rhiannon already holds to her name as one of the most decorated athletes in the sport, regardless of weight class. And we know that Rhiannon isn't going to stop there. These are just setting the tone for what is going to be a tremendously powerful 2023, and I'm looking forward to seeing what records fall as the year progresses. Well done, Rhiannon. In my last video, I dissected the UKNS and the qualifiers coming up, all culminating in the final, which is going to take place in Galway in June this year. If you missed it, check it out. However, I made one glaring omission, and thank you, Kyle Scott, for very rightly calling me out on it. I missed the Irish qualifier for UKNS, which is taking place on March the 25th and 26th in Galway under the banner of Natural Ireland's Strongest Man and Woman. And I think it's important to spotlight the Irish qualifier because it is taking place at the gym that will be hosting the UK final. But not only that, while the qualifying events were pretty much the same regardless of which qualifier you entered on the mainland, in Ireland the events are quite different. So let's go through the events that the guys and girls in Natural Ireland's Strongest Man and Woman 2023 will be going through. Starting off, we have an axle press overhead for maximum weight, which is quite different to the English and Scottish qualifiers that had a log for reps. So kicking off the Irish qualifier straight away with a max event. Then we have a silver dollar deadlift for reps, which is quite different to the English and Scottish qualifiers that had a standard stiff bar deadlift from the floor for reps. Then we have a farmer's walk for max distance. England and Scotland had 40 meters to deal with. Then we have a Husserfeld carry for max distance. That's 2 max distance events in a row. A sandbag for distance, that was bad enough at the qualifier I did. I can't even imagine a Husserfeld stone for max distance. I feel for you guys and girls doing this competition. Finishing off, we have a stone over a bar set of 46 inches for reps. Now this event will offer athletes a choice of 2 stones, a lighter stone and a heavier stone, but any reps on a heavier stone trump any number of reps on the lighter stone. So it's going to be in the best interest of everyone to go as heavy as they can. So those are your events for the Irish qualifier. The top 3 athletes from each class will then progress to the UK final. They have to deal with 2 max distance events and 1 max overhead event. That sounds like a really tough day, so good luck to everyone that's taking part, and I'll see you in June. So we're going to finish off this video talking about Leroy Smith. He is a beloved strongman athlete and personality in the sport. He made it to OSG in 2021 and 2022, where he placed 5th in a very competitive group. More than that, on a national level in 2022, he took the title of England's and Britain's strongest under 90 kilogram man. And he is a former dumbbell press world record holder. I was actually there when Leroy broke the dumbbell press world record in August 2021. It was part of East of England's Strongest Man, which I was competing in. And it was awesome to watch. It was like almost like a Rocky moment. He missed his first couple of attempts, and I think some of the people watching may have written him off, but he came back and absolutely smashed that 3rd event. And you can see by the reaction on that successful lift how much that record meant to him. It was awesome to see him perform, and again, watching him at OSG last year, it was such a great performance on that dumbbell medley particularly.
But he does press it with one arm. Very reactive.
He's flying through these. Needs to be balanced. There we go. Nice technique there.
We're looking at our new event leader in lane number 2,
He's
Leroy
do
Smith.
This. Lots of leg power. This is going up. Yes!
Beautiful run.
There
Leroy.
we go. Leroy Smith flying through the dumbbell ladder.
It came out on social media that Leroy received the sort of news that no athlete wants to hear. Apparently he'd been suffering with a niggling injury for quite some time, which had progressed, got worse, and now he's facing the prospect of having to retire from the sport that he loves and he has given so much to, without surgical intervention to prevent the damage that he's already suffering from getting any worse. Unfortunately, it seems that the earliest that this vital surgery can take place is in 12 months' time, unless Leroy goes through private healthcare and has to take on the numerous bills and costs associated with that. So strongwoman Rachel Cannon has set up a GoFundMe and is calling upon the strongman world to rally behind Leroy and contribute whatever they can to help cover these medical expenses that could mean that Leroy could go in for surgery in as little as 6 weeks. At time of recording, the total is up to about £1,300 and the page has been active for less than 24 hours, which is just testament to the love and admiration the strongman world has for Leroy Smith. Obviously, the link to the GoFundMe will be down in the comments below, so if you can contribute anything, do so. So there we have it, just a brief roundup of some of the goings on in the world of lightweight strongman. We did have the UKNS Southern qualifier last week, but I'm going to hold off talking about that until we've wrapped up Scotland and the Midlands, so we know who is going to make the UK final from England and Scotland. I've been Danny from Made of Metal, aka Britain's strongest drummer, and I'll see you real soon.